All right, well, I'm ready whenever.
I'm Kyle,
And I'm Scott.
and this is Crushing Trails and Drinking Ales. Today, we're going to be talking about the month of March, giving a little run recap, and look ahead to April for us. But before we do that, if you could go ahead and crush that like button, and if you haven't already, hit the subscribe and go ahead and go the extra mile for us and hit the notification bell. We'd greatly appreciate it. That way, you can crush trails and drink ales with us. Let's get into it. Scott, why don't you go ahead and tell us what you're drinking tonight?
Yeah, so I'm in El Paso for work and been doing a little bit of trail running while I'm here and stopped in at a local brewery that I'm a big fan of, which is Aurelia's on the west side of El Paso. And I am drinking their Golden Age, which is a Helles lager. It is 4.5%. So it's a nice, easy drinking beer for some conversation. And if you're ever in El Paso, you should go check out Aurelia's on the west side. They make really good beers. What are you drinking tonight?
I went with Smog City down in Torrance. I have their Little Bow Pills. It is a Pilsner, as the name says. Comes in at a crisp 4.4%. And it's a nice, easygoing beer. Great for us having conversation or just after a run. And if you find yourself in Torrance, California, there are a plethora of breweries that are worth checking out. They have Smog City, Monkish, Dude's Brewery. There's the Strand, there's Scholb, there's a lot. I'll throw a few more up there as well. Torrance is great for breweries. So while we're enjoying these cold ones here, let's go ahead and take a look at your recap for the month.
Even when you feel low, you can still go. Even when you feel slow, you can still go. Even when there's no hope, you can still go. I never answer to no, man, I still go. Go, 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 yeah, go. Hustle hard, hustle every single day. I'll be making moves till I'm buried in my grave. To the system, I don't wanna be a slave. I've been doing shit.
That's a wrap on March. See you guys next month.
The driveway is a nice range, 'cause I grind through the climb, I invite pain. You'll never hear me, bitch.
All right. It looks like you had yourself a nice little month. Let's go ahead and hear about it.
It was a little bit of a mental and physical reset. Still kind of just kind of keeping things light. Making sure I'm recovered before we go into some of the bigger volume training.
Have you already started planning out your training at all? Have you put together a plan or
I have not yet. I've started kind of thinking about some stuff. Obviously I've sent you some messages about some challenges and stuff to kind of do along the way, but I haven't put pen to paper yet. So on top of that mental and physical reset, looked at March, knew I had a lot of travel and some family time coming up. So, that was another reason that we kind of kept the volume light. And so ended up kind of crushing more ales than I did trails. But, started out the month in Salt Lake City, which if you've never been is a great trail running destination, at least, in the warmer months. Yeah, and from my understanding, I mean, even in the you can even in the winter, you can still get some decent running in the foothills a lot of times because there's not a lot of snow, kind of right there by downtown. Within a few miles, you can be up into higher elevation. I didn't get to do a lot of trail running while I was there. I got one in, had to do a couple days on the treadmill. We were there for a wedding, so kind of squeezed in what I could. But did want to highlight a few breweries that we hit while we were in Salt Lake. So yeah, we found Level Crossing Brewing. And I think they have a couple locations in Salt Lake, but we hit the one downtown. Grabbed a couple beers they were pretty good, and had some pizza, which was very much above average. So pretty solid pizza, which I know you appreciate.
I'll travel just for pizza. If there's trail running and pizza and beer, I mean that's the trifecta right there at that point.
But yeah, so we hit that one up, and then right around the corner from our hotel was Red Rock Brewing, downtown location. I believe they have multiple locations as well, but I would say it's worth a stop in if you're in Salt Lake. My favorite brewery while we were there was Fisher Brewing Company, which I actually met one of my friends who formerly lived in Austin and moved to Salt Lake about 5 years ago. Shout out to Brandon if you happen to be watching, but it was good to catch up with him. So anyway, yeah, so got back from Salt Lake, had about 4 days in Austin, and then we headed up to Colorado for spring break.
Texas is pretty hot there throughout the year. So Colorado for spring break, huh?
Yeah, I mean, obviously the South Padre is a big beach destination for the college kids. I'm a little past that age at this point.
How do you do, fellow kids?
But I've never been a big beach guy anyway. I love the mountains, so went up to Colorado Springs for a couple nights and got to see some friends that used to live in Texas, and yeah, actually saw somebody from Wisconsin, Elise. Shout out if you happen to watch. But yeah, so we got to hang out and kind of catch up, and did hit one pretty cool brewery there in Colorado Springs called Ivy Wild, which is in an old school. So that was actually really cool brewery. They had solid beers. First time in up in Colorado Springs. I was hoping to get up to the Manitou Incline, but unfortunately we had our dogs with us and kids. So first of all, dogs aren't allowed on the Manitou Incline. I had to look that up. But trying to drag a 5-year-old and an almost 3-year-old up the Manitou Incline probably would not have gone well. What's crazy is that I saw an article because there was a big snowstorm while we were after we left Colorado Springs while we were up in Estes Park, and so they got a bunch of snow at the Manitou Incline, and I saw some people hiked up and skied down the Manitou Incline, which sounds pretty insane.
You're crazy, man.
The Colorado was definitely family time, so that was kind of where was just kind of mostly doing a mile a day. Did get one short trail run in before the snow hit us in Estes Park. So we got about 3 feet of snow in less than 48 hours. Got some runs in some pretty heavy snow when it was coming down, dumping snow. But got to kind of check out Rocky Mountain National Park, do some sledding and play in the snow with the kids and that stuff. So we hit up a couple of good breweries while we were there. Hit up Rock Cut, which was pretty solid. We didn't get to stay too long because we had the dogs with us. The gym or the highlight of breweries for the month for me was Avant Garde Brewing in Estes Park. We actually went there multiple times and brought a bunch of beer back from that brewery because their beers were really solid. So made the long drive back. So that was some of the interesting trying to keep up the 1 mile runs because we split it up. So there were some late night treadmill runs at a hotel after getting the kids kind of settled in, and was able to keep it up. And then we got back, had about a week, and then I'm out here in El Paso right now. So done a couple runs in New Mexico, and interestingly enough, yesterday went to scout a route that I'm looking at. Quickly found out the beginning of the route is not very runnable, about 1,800 feet of climbing in less than 3 miles. So it was very steep. But got up to about my turnaround point, and it started snowing, which was unexpected. I did have a jacket with me, but I was not prepared for snow. Made it down about a half mile from the trailhead, and the wind picked up, and the temperature dropped about 15 degrees, and started getting pelted with rain and snow and sleet. And and then that last about half mile is on a lot of just exposed smooth granite. As soon as that got wet, I was going down quickly, and actually went down, fell, and busted up my hand and my knee, and it was an unexpected experience for sure. Obviously hit up Aurelia's and flying Southwest, so taking some of this Hellas lager, but also muling back a vanilla pecan stout, as well as a red ale for my wife because she loves red ale. So and then we'll finish out the last 3 days of the month in Austin, and then we'll look forward to April. I'm pretty much out of beer, so I'm gonna go grab another one. But while I do that, why don't we check out and see how your month went? Hey, Kyle, that looked like a great month of running. Why don't you tell us a little bit more about it?
Yeah. So March for me actually ended up being a bit of a light month, kind of unintentionally. I was doing the 50 miles a week and 5,000 feet of elevation gain in that time. I did that for about 10 weeks or so into the year and started looking at the calendar and realized this was really my last opportunity to kind of trim it back and have a bit of a low key month before the training turns up quite heavily in like mid-April or so.
Remind us what you're training for.
I am training for Angeles Crest 100 is the big one on August 3rd, and then 6 weeks later, Barkley Fall Classic is the other one that's always going to be around. But training for 100, this is going to be my first time running 100 miles. And prior, you've put together all of my training plans, so looking forward to seeing if you can put together another one for me here
So
and
is
help me
that
get over that line.
so that's a request, huh?
That is a formal request. You heard it here first, folks. Hope that you can put together a training plan for me that'll get me across the finish line at Angeles Crest 100.
Or since I'm also running and I want to make sure that I'm most likely running, maybe I want to beat you, so I'm going to torpedo your training.
Send me out fast and hard and watch me burn up in the first 3 miles.
But yeah, so yeah, how'd the rest of the month? Anything else of interest in the month?
You know, with this month, no races, no really long runs. I took the opportunity with the low mileage and I decided to focus on something I really hadn't done before, which was speed. Since I got into running, I was doing the mile a day early, and then that kind of transitioned into just kind of going for long distances and never really focused on how fast I could run. So March saw me kind of hitting some 5Ks and shorter distances as fast as I could get going, which still isn't very fast, but it allowed me to feel a little bit of the wind underneath my wings, and it
All
was
right,
nice.
Bette Midler.
Is this Bette Midler's understand?
Yeah, so it sounds like, for different reasons, it sounds like we both kind of took March as kind of a little bit of a downtime slash reset before, we kind of jump into April. So,
Yeah, what do you got ahead for you in April?
I don't know. Yeah, no, April, obviously in the next few days, I got to start putting together some training plans, both mine and now apparently yours as well. But, got to start putting together some training plans. I mean, uh, I'm still number 12 as of this afternoon on the waiting list for Angeles Crest. So I'm not in, but I'm training like I'm going to start training like I am in right now. April, I don't know what it's going to look like yet. Haven't really put pen to paper on any training. Don't really have any events or anything like that, but looking to try to put together some routes and start putting some serious mileage in. This is when I'm out here for work, this is kind of where I get into some really good trail running and some good vert, because the mountains are right here, which obviously I do not have in Austin. So I try to take advantage of it while I'm out here, especially
Have,
now that especially now that there's more daylight. So
have you
even
considered moving some mountains to Austin just to see if they could be closer?
yeah, just gonna start building in April. What are you looking forward to in April?
For me in April, until you get that actual plan together for me, that I'll be waiting on my emails. I'll be checking them regularly for that.
Here's your training plan. We're gonna start 100 days out from the 100 miler, and you're gonna run 1 mile on day one, and you're gonna add 1 mile every single day until you get to 100 miles.
I feel like a 99 miler the day before AC 100 is probably the the most
Perfect.
reasonable way to get it done.
It's a great 99-mile shakeout run.
But yeah, for for me for April, once I have an actual set plan ahead of me, that's when things are really going to ramp up. Earlier in the month, around the 9th, I'm going to be heading to my town that I grew up in northern Wisconsin. Having been focused on a little bit more speed than I have been on the distance, I'm going to hit the track that I used to run on when I was a kid and just kind of see what I can do. I have a little bit of a concept that I'd like to put together, and that's basically what's planned for April.
Speaking of Wisconsin, shout out to Joanne for that nice Easter egg behind you.
Absolutely. You know what? I'll go ahead and put it on my finger. I'd love to shout out my mother for that. She made that Easter egg. It's made out of wood, and hand decorated.
And I'm guessing since it's made out of wood, Randy probably cut that.
You know, when it comes down to things, my dad handles the wood, the shaping and the sanding, and then my mom puts the artwork on it. So it's a team process, really. I think after I get back from Wisconsin, the plan will be to start building back up. Knowing, like I said, the concept is kind of like run fast for a little while here, but the long term is obviously I need to be able to run 100 miles and then 6 weeks later crush the Barkley Fall Classic and get that damn Croy.
Sweet smell of victory.
So it looks like both of us had a nice March and we got some stuff to look forward to in April. But before we go, I would actually like to point out that we dropped our first non-vlog style video that Scott put together. So go ahead and tell us about it.
Yeah, so it's just a little 3.5 minute video of me and my daughter on a run. You know, the idea is that I run, and anytime we pass a playground, she gets to play on the playground, and it was going to be this whimsical video of that. But as I sat down to kind of edited it, you know, things kind of took a little bit of a turn as far as the direction I wanted to go, and kind of ended up being a little bit more introspective type of video. And so that one's out now, so you can check it out here. And then up next, I've got to sit down and start working on my Black Canyon video before I completely forget everything that happened. So look for that one. It'll take a little bit longer to put that one together, but look for that one coming up. Kyle, you got any videos kind of in the pipeline?
Yeah, so I do have a couple videos in the pipeline. I got the Ciclavia one still in the works. I'm hoping to have that done pretty soon. It's not gonna be anything crazy. It's gonna be pretty short. Then I have my pacing video for Black Canyon, and I'm looking to take my perspective on that. And then the last thing will be, once I'm home in April, is getting together my little, on the track video that I have in mind. So we got a few things pumping out. We're going to keep doing these vlog videos, so deal with it. And that's part of what's happening. But, we're going to put out content that we really are passionate about along the way.
If you've made it this far watching the video, drop us a comment down there, because my guess is most people have already stopped watching by now.
This is the deep cut, all right? Yes, as Scott said, just show some love.
One love.
Hey, man, great March. Looking forward to April. So until next month, cheers.
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 Sometimes you wanna go